Thank you. Thank you. I don't know if I need a mic or not, but we'll give it a shot. So it is an honor to be here. What Brandon and what Ken have done is they said, why am I here? It's because you're creating a leadership factory here. There's a lot. You can sell real estate at any company, but right here is where we're going to change lives. And so I'm excited to be here and share a few strategies. I'll share some strategies on how to be able to make some more money and retire yourself if you want one day. So you can choose to work or not to be able to do that. Also, Alma, he killed it, right? I think if you reflect on what that is, there's going to come a time where he's going to be one of the biggest trainers in the industry, in the country. You're going to go, oh my gosh, I just got to spend an hour with him in a room. It was a couple years ago when he was just kind of taking off, but you're going to look back at this day and you're going to really be really grateful to be here. All right, so I'm going to go through a lot of stuff. So I was told this is the super smart room with all of the really sharp people that can catch stuff really fast. Is that right? Raise your hand if you guys are the smart ones in the room. All right. Raise your hand if you're sitting next to the smart people. All right. Raise your hand if nobody raised their hand next to you. That's not good, right? But we're going to go really, really fast. I'm going to go through a lot of words. So Alma, I don't know, you can see if you can catch up, right? But he's good at reading now. So we're going to go through a lot of words because we learn in a lot of different ways. What? It is. Because we learn a lot of different ways, right? Sometimes we're visual, sometimes we like to read, sometimes we like to hear, but I'm going to hit a lot of the different senses. So you're going to need to catch up, and you're not going to have to remember everything, but you're going to want to remember, how do you feel? How do you feel? What are the things that really stand out to you, and be able to do that? So today is all about leverage, right? We get into real estate because we want to be paid what we're worth. Sometimes that scares people because they're like, crap, I'm paid what I'm worth, which is not very good. So we're going to talk about leverage. How do we work from buyers to sellers to go through and be able to, how do you make more money per transaction? Because that's really important, right? How do you be able to do that in all these different ways? And also to be able to have some real freedom in your life. A lot of people talk about, I got into real estate for freedom. And I'm like, tell me about it. Do you have freedom? They're like, yeah, I've got freedom. I'm like, maybe. And what happens is, the reality is, I got my real estate license in 1998. That was a different century ago. Most people in real estate have flexibility, right? If their kids' softball game is there, they can move a showing, they can move something and be able to go to it. But the reality is, most of us don't have freedom, right? Freedom is being able to do what you want, when you want, where you want, with who you want, for as long as you want. I'm lucky enough to be able to have that through real estate as a college dropout, which is pretty amazing. We're going to talk about that. I honor you for being here today because live events change lives. I absolutely believe that. So give yourselves a round of applause for just showing up, right? It's hard. There's a lot of different, and they're like, man, you know what? I got to be honest with you, Curtis. I just really wanted the Jimmy John's, right? You got your sandwich. You could have left already, but you're here, right? You're fighting it out. So I flew into Burbank. And then I drove over, and you're not going to believe this. I kept looking everywhere because I was like a little bit nervous. I was looking around on the freeways, on some street, and you're not going to believe it. I looked around, there was no dinosaurs. Like nothing. Like there was some crazy drivers, but there was no dinosaurs. I was like waiting for the dinosaurs to jump out. So why weren't there any dinosaurs along the freeway? This isn't a trick question. Like, why were there no dinosaurs?
Because they're stuck in the La Brea tar pit.
I was thinking about that. I was thinking that was a good answer, right? Because they're what? They're extinct? What happened? Well, here's the deal. They did not adapt. They did not adapt. And we've got some dinosaur real estate agents that are not adapting as well, and they're going to not be they're not going to be out there either. And let me just tell you, I do believe interest rates are going to come down, but nobody is coming to save you. Look around, point to yourself, say, I'm here, right? I'm here. This is who's going to save you. You. Nobody else is going to be doing this. If you want to fail, real estate is a perfect environment to do that. Nobody is coming to save you. You are there. And I want you to also be real with yourself for a second, is read this. Because I haven't mastered blank behaviors, blank outcomes keep happening. Okay? Because I haven't mastered recruiting behaviors, what outcomes? I keep churning over agents. I keep dealing with low-end agents, right? Because I haven't mastered for sale by owners, right? Haven't mastered those behaviors, what happens? I keep being broke. All of the outcomes that we want happen because we haven't mastered behaviors. So I want you to think about, as we go through, you can sit back and you can go, I got this all figured out, right? I already know, like Southern California audiences are notorious for being really difficult. I'm just telling you, I speak in a lot of different places. Congratulations, you guys are like, nobody wants to come here, right? Because you're like, man, they just sit back and they're just too cool. Okay, I get it, right? You can do that. You can win. You can do that. Or if you're okay with it, we can friggin' make a lot of money. You guys all right with that? Who's the second group wants to make a lot of money? Woo. All right, there you are. There's all the stuck-up people. Come on now, right? You guys don't have to do that. Like you're not that cool, right? We can have fun and we can also make a lot of money. You don't get a bonus by just being a stick in the mud, right? Because that's some other company. That's everywhere else. Alex Hormozi, I think, is awesome. He's like, if it's hard for you, it's hard for everyone. And most people avoid hard things, which is why you can beat most people by just trying. Man, yeah, real estate's hard. Guess what? We got into it because it's hard. We want it hard. I want it hard. I don't want AI to fix everything. I don't want the government to come in and fix. I want it hard. Because the harder it is, the harder the problem, the more money we can make. You want to make more money? Find a bigger problem, right? If you solve small problems, you're going to get small paychecks. Solve big problems, and you're going to make big money. So we want it hard, right? We look for those things. So who's going to make it through? What real estate agents are going to make it through? Well, it's the ones that are great at marketing. That's who, right? It's going to be the best marketers. It's not going to always just be the best looking, the person that's got the country, whatever. It's going to be the best marketers and some strategies we're going to go through. So a little bit about myself. I'm one of the few billion-dollar agents over there. I've sold over 7,000 homes, 7,000 in my team, right? So that just means I've been doing this for a long time. I've been on 30 Under 30 back when, that was a couple decades ago when I was up and coming and doing stuff. I also built the 7th largest organization inside of EXP, right? And I did that in pretty fast. And it's a lot of that's been on the top 50 teams in America, a lot of different stuff like that. But really what it comes down to is it comes down to the strategies that I'm going to share with you today. And before I tell you exactly what I do, I want to tell you what I believe, because belief is really what's going to be key. You're going to either believe in me or not. And so let me tell you what I believe. I believe real estate's an incredible career. You guys agree with that? Yes. It is, right? We get dumped on a lot. It is an incredible career. I believe the old school legacy real estate industry is fundamentally broken and is designed to keep real estate agents on the never-ending treadmill of low production, leaving agents dependent on outdated franchises. That's how it's designed. I believe eXp Realty is the only business model in real estate where your number one goal is to help agents outgrow and out-earn you. I believe your real estate production and personal growth will mirror that of your mentors and circle. I believe massive positive change happens when you're in the right rooms with the right people at the right time. Alma said something very similar to that. I believe the ultimate real estate achievement is not your personal production and trophies and everything else like that, but the level of success you help those in your inner circle achieve. And that's why I'm here, because we're creating a leadership factory. We're creating something where we can lift others higher than ourselves. That, I believe, is what really is the true pinnacle inside of real estate. So you might be here wanting to get better at buyers. I'm going to help you with that. You might want to get better with sellers. I'm going to help you with that. You might want to get better with recruiting or agent attraction. It's all the same. It all comes to this. You got to understand, money moves to differences, not similarities. Okay? Our job today is to create a gap. Money is in the gap. Because what happens is this industry wants to make everybody commodities. If you're a commodity, you're going to pay the same. The industry got sued because we were commodities. Who do you think forced that? The industry, right? They want everybody to market the same, do the same, and so you need to every day wake up, look at yourself and say, am I the same as everybody else? Because if you're the same as everybody else, you're going to get paid the same as everybody else, which if you haven't checked lately, sucks. Right? Your job is to create a gap between you and everybody else. If there is no gap, there's no money in it, right? So we're going to talk about what is your offer. And most people go, offer? What are you talking about, offer? What makes you different? What is your offer to a buyer? What is your offer to a seller? Well, my offer to a buyer is just to pop the lockbox and open it. Okay, guess what? That's the same as everybody else. That's not an offer. What is your offer to sellers? I'm gonna throw their home at the bottom of a list. Is that really an offer? Does that really make you different? And so I'm gonna go through some different stuff on the offer side of it. And then we're gonna take about, once you've got that offer, how do you push that out there to get maximum exposure, to get paid the most? And then we'll talk about some other fun stuff after that, if that's all right. Okay, so what is your offer? So there's a few things that you really need to be able to do to be able to craft your offer. So first you've got to decide, what do you actually solve? Do you actually solve anything, right? How do you get different results? What's your unique selling offer, right? Now, is there a way to be able to create urgency and bonuses? And can you do this with a risk reversal? If you can do all of these things, you will make a crap ton of money. Crap ton, that's like an official term, right? That's a lot. If you can't, if you don't do any of these, if you actually don't solve anything and you're just what they call a functionary in real estate, I actually just do work, you're gonna get paid very low. If you don't actually solve anything, right? Do you get different results? If you don't get different results, you're not gonna get paid that much. Do you actually have an offer? Can you differentiate yourself? Is there a gap between you and your competition? If there's no gap, there's no money. Okay? And urgency. Is there any urgency for someone to choose to work with you now versus some other time? Right? And is there a risk reversal? Is there risk? Can they cancel working with you? What is the risk from working with you? Because understand that selling is just aligning with people who believe the same thing as you. So do they know what you believe? Do they believe the same thing? Right? Alma talked about for sale by owners. He's got to get them to believe the same thing, right? That they believe that he is going to be able to help them reach their goals. Yeah.
But I have to know what I believe.
Yes.
Before I can get them to
right.
believe in what I believe.
Yep. Right? And most for sale by owners are they're saying, I'm willing to go do all this work because I don't want to have to use a real estate agent. They're like, I would rather do the work because they don't believe that we're actually going to get different results, right? It's the biggest lie in real estate. They believe I'm going to get the same results as somebody actually doing the work. That's how poorly we have done as an industry in educating people to actually get a different result, right? So remember, the stronger the belief, the stronger the attraction towards you. So money is in the gap, and we're all commodities until we can create a gap in how we're different and help our clients get different results inside there. So profits flow to differences and run from similarities. You guys get that? That's really key. Profits flow to differences and run from similarities. So the more you go and you look at everybody else, what are they doing to market? What are they doing to do this? The more you're saying, I don't value any profits. I don't value free time. I don't value having a large income. I don't value having a great savings. I don't value these things because I'm gutless, right? I'd rather be liked and blend in than actually be a little different. I'm trying to use some things to shock you into going, this is not the same message as everywhere else. Why? Because there's a gap. Success leaves clues, right? And again, I started just like everybody else. My wife gave me 90 days to go sell a house or I had to go get a real job, which I knew that really wasn't gonna happen because kind of unemployable, right? So we've all been there, we've all had it, but understand the industry wants to push you to be a commodity, and I don't want that for you. I want you to be an individual. The wealthy are paid for expertise and results, and the lowest are paid for their time, right? Do you want to just get paid for your time, or do you want to get paid for your expertise? If you want to make a lot of money, it's not going to be hourly. I'm just telling you. So we have to go through and exploit the differences. If you're all the same, you're going to get paid the same. So ask yourself, do agents fear going up against you? Right? Do they fear that? So go in and take an area that you want, right? Go claim that space and leave everything else for everybody else, okay? So let's look at some dynamic USPs, unique selling propositions, right? So why are you different? And here I'm going to go through some stuff pretty quick, but I want you to think about something. We could take it a little bit further, maybe a different time, but you've got to start asking yourself, what do you do different? Because if you're not different, you're not needed. So questions you need to ask yourself are, how do you do it? So what do you do that's special? How do you do something? And if you start saying things like, oh, I'm just a realtor, guess what? Does everybody get the same result? No. Look at list to sale price ratios. Look at days on the market. Look at there's so much differences. Why would you ever let somebody insinuate you're the same as everybody else? You have to be different. So how do you do it? And then always understand they're asking, why should I care? Right? Why should I care? How will it help me now? Right? Does the market change? The market changes hourly. How will it help me right now? And how is the value 10 times more than the actual hard cost? You've got to be bringing value inside of it. Again, clients do not pay for maybes. The clients pay a premium for certainty. Certainty comes from systems. Certainty comes from doing this and explaining what you do and how you do it and how it's different and how they're going to end up with a different result. If you do not explain that and you just lower yourself to saying, I'm going to put a home at the bottom of the list, you're going to end up with poor results. Okay? I know it's scary, but understand you've got to be different. Clients pay a premium for certainty. What's the opposite of that? If you bring no certainty to it, how are you going to be paid? Like a commodity. Understand that. You should never be unhappy if someone says, you know what, they wanted me to reduce my fee. What are they saying? I see you the same as everybody else. When everything is the same, the only differentiator is price. Right? And that's why if you haven't done this, the first thing you do, because this is hard work to go through and figure out what you do, the first thing we do is we just start going, everybody else charges 2.5. Everyone else charges 2. Everyone charges this, 3, 5, whatever it is. I guess I'll just cut a little bit. Okay? And I'm just telling you from experience and going through and doing this. I was in Arizona and our prices went from $300,000 down to $100,000. Right? That wasn't very fun. But at the same point, I said, hey, you know, I'd like to have some food with my meals. This would be great. And so I went through and figured out how do we bring so much value. And at the end of that year, our compensation was to me was 5.94%. Not counting what we split out and everything else. I'm just telling you is in any market, you can be paid what you're worth. It doesn't matter what that is. The reality is if you're worth 1% and you're charging 1.5%, that's too much. Your job is to bring enough value so you're compensated at the highest level. I don't care what that is. So have you done a great job of communicating your differences? So I want you to think about this for a second. If you're maybe going to take a picture, you might want to do this here. But just to kind of think through this, because a lot of people start going, that sounds great, but what are you talking about? Like, how do I actually do this? I say, you know, it's pretty easy. You know how basic real estate agents blank, okay? This is like Mad Libs kind of, right? What we do is blank that allows you to blank so that you can blank. Make sense? You're like, no clue. I have no idea. I just throw it at the bottom of the list. Okay, hence, I'll give you an example. You know how basic real estate agents just slap your home at the bottom of a list and hope? What we do is conduct a maximum home value audit to strategically position your home at the top of the 22% price swing. That allows you to not just get top dollar for your home, but also receive our exclusive guarantee that if your home doesn't sell in 27 days, we'll step in and buy it ourselves so that you can comfortably move without getting stuck owning 2 homes or missing out on your dream home altogether. Make sense? Again, just filling in the gaps. Yours is going to be different. Yours is going to be different. How would you go about this? How would you go about saying, how am I different? Again, if you're not different, don't complain if you're paid the same as every other broke agent. Don't complain about it. This is your chance. You've got to go through and think about this. So you've got to craft your unique home selling offer. So do you and your presentation impact whether a seller hires you or not? You've got to ask yourself, if you went in and you had a great presentation, what would your signing percentage be? Does it actually impact it? Or is it strictly, because when you don't get a listing, what happens? I can tell you from talking to thousands of agents, they went with someone else that was cheaper. They didn't like the price it was. Those are all lies. Those are all things that we use to make our little egos feel better, right? Because they saw us the same as everybody else. And whose fault's that? That's our fault. If they see us the same as everybody else, we failed. So your job is to create a gap between you and everybody else. So if it comes down to price and your fee, what you charge, that's really just saying, I see you the same as everybody else, which is really offensive to me. And it should be offensive to you as well, right? So you've got to go through every item that you go through and work on here gives you an advantage. If you don't work on any of them, it's not going to give you an advantage. If you do one of them, it's going to help you. But if you go through on all of these will all help you. So you've got to ask yourself, do they actually need you, right? You could have the greatest marketing plan in the world, the best virtual tours, everything. But if they don't want to sell, it really doesn't solve anything. So you've got to figure out, what are you actually solving in here? And then do you have like a bold claim? What is your bold claim? And you're like, I don't want to make a bold claim. Okay. Your choice is like to go through and, are you going to have something that you're going to do different? What do you solve? What makes you special? Inside mine, I created a no-risk home sale and a no-risk home buyer. What results can they expect? If you're going in and you're only talking about your fee, what price you're going to list a home at, but you're not actually, we get bored because we're with ourselves a lot, right? Like most of the time, right? I know pot's been legal here for a while, so I guess, I don't know, you're with yourself a lot, right? But what is it? What can they expect? Your job is to explain to people how their experience is. What are you actually going to do for them, right? So inside there, walk sellers through your process, okay? Which freaks people out because they go, process? What process is it you're talking about? And that's when you have to ask yourself, what is your process? How do you go about it? How do you go about creating marketing for them? How do you go about doing the write-up? All the things that we take for granted. When you have a system, it gives people confidence inside there. So I give people 5 choices. Again, we run a big team. I try not to meet with people. It kind of scares them. But we give people 5 choices. I say, here's the deal. Here's the choices you get to make when you work with us. You get to decide if you want your home marketed for top dollar or sitting passively on a list. Again, creating a gap. Here's what they do. Here's what we do. They slap it at the bottom of a list. We go through and we market it for top dollar. Do you want your home presented? Do you want a conversion strategy? What's a conversion strategy? Again, if you're not talking about it, you're not different. You're the same as everybody else. What is your conversion strategy? What do you do when you go on vacation? How do your phone call? How are they routed? There's so many things inside this business that we can go through and say, you know what I do different is blank. What they do is this. What I do is this. If you're not differentiating yourself and you're not creating a gap, don't be unhappy with the results. So your job is to create a gap, right? Or do you want a presentation and conversion strategy, or you just want to hope and wing it? Again, you want strong negotiating strategy, or are you looking for an order taker? Again, laying these all out. Do you want a complete proven team, or you want a single agent? If I was a single agent, I would go through and talk about what they're going to get the personal impact. Do you want personal connection, or do you want this impersonal team? Right? You're going through and creating this based on what you're bringing to the table. Strategic pricing versus guessing and waiting. How do you go about pricing a home? You could create a whole listing presentation just based on how you go about pricing it. So understand there's so many options for you to go through and be able to do this. You need to go through and create a unique home selling offer, right? Nobody should be able to copy it. It should create a group of one. It should be unique to you. Get different results, and are there guarantees inside of it? Again, I went through and created a no-risk home sale inside there. Create descriptive names for your marketing inside there. I created the 89-step no-risk home sale, right? Someone tried to knock it off, but I was like, I created that, right? But what is it you do? How many steps do you use? What do you do? What is your process? If you have no process, it's not going to give people comfort inside there. Same thing on the buyer side. What is specific to you? Is it clear, powerful? You can go through, you can have a cancellation guarantee. The reality is if a client complained enough to you, you'd get rid of them anyways, right? So maybe if you go through and say, you know what, we got a cancellation guarantee, which means that every day I wake up making sure that I'm keeping you happy. And so they talk, well, I don't want to do this. I'm like, essentially it's a day-to-day listing agreement, right? What do? You need to go through and create something that makes it special. Go through and talk about what types of things can you do. Can you go out? Do you have investors you work with? Do you have an if someone's house was an amazing offer, was an amazing value, do you have 3 or 4 investors that you could take it to? Could you take it to OfferPad, Open Door, Zillow? Could you take it to all these different places? Maybe not Zillow right now, but could you take it to someone and they would give you an offer on the home? I went through and figured out that, you know what? I had up to 18 different people that I could take it to, including myself as one of those. So when they hear on the radio, they hear stuff on the TV, oh, we're going to make an offer for your property. I'm like, yeah, you absolutely. You might get lucky with one. Are you open to getting up to 18 offers, or are you just pretty comfortable that one is going to be the one? Right? You've got to go through and create what is it you're actually bringing. On the buyer side, is there any strategy? What about when you're out of town and somebody wants to see a home? Do you have a plan for that? If you have a plan for it, don't you think your buyers would want to know? What happens if you get sick and they want to go see their dream home? So you've got to go through and create a system and then go through is that making sense at all? Are we back to the Southern California? I just want to make sure we're still cool. Because there's like 8 people in here that was totally cool earlier and like a lot of faces now going, I don't know, this sounds like work. All right. You know what sucks? You know what's hard? Being broke. Right? Can I get aim? Come on, who's been broke before? Just like, okay, like Curtis, remember we just talked about that? We don't admit to that. I've been rich and I've been broke and I've been really rich. I like being rich way better, right? Being poor sucks. That's like a full-time job being broke, right? So just don't. Decide to go through and do the work it takes to build a great marketing plan and making you different inside of here, right? As you go through, what do? Did you crush golf, golf lots? Like you're like, this is what my specialty is, or homes with a pool, or homes on the waterfront. Then get testimonials from people that you solved that same problem. That's where the money's at, right? Also, why should they choose you now? What I figured out is when I would go meet with someone, I was always trying to be cool about it and nice, and they'd be like, well, let me think about it. I'm like, man, let's not think about it. Let's just do it, right? And they'd always be like, well, we'll call you tomorrow. I'm like, I don't want to come back tomorrow. I don't like to drive. I don't like to fly either. I don't like to drive either. And I'd say, okay, well, you know what? Like, hey, if you decide to do this right now, I'll take care of, actually I use Fidelity Home Warranty, right? I'd say, let's add a home warranty. I'll cover that, right? Whatever it was, because I knew I didn't want to come back. But is there anything you can do, even if your prices were a little higher and you gave them an incentive to make a choice right now? Wouldn't you want to know as opposed to being the one that you're waiting day after day? My time's worth something. So create some type of incentive for them to be able to make a decision right now, right? And give them bonuses and urgency inside there, right? Even Disneyland does that, right? Based on, if someone came to you right now and said, hey, we want to have you take 50 listings next week or even this week. Could you do it? Probably not. You probably don't have the infrastructure to be able to do it. So the reality is there is urgency. There's only a certain number of clients you can take on at any one time. So go through and create some urgency to be able to do that, right? And risk reversal, right? We've got a love it or leave it, no pressure guarantee. We've got all kinds. What type of guarantees can you do? There's all kinds of things that you can do that are legal, that they can go through and be able to cancel or whatever it is. Right? I said, you know what? Hey, if there's ever a week that you don't hear from me, I'll give you $100 cash. Every single one of you guys could do that. Do you know how many $100 I've ever had to pay? None. Why? Because it does 2 things. It made sure that I did it, which you should do anyways. Because if they're calling you, you already lost. Which you should do, but guess what? How do you think that makes them feel, considering that's the number one reason that they get rid of real estate agents? Because they never hear from us. And it forces you to get in touch with them, right? So there's all kinds of risk reversals, things that you could be able to do, right, if they go through and do it. So once you have a great offer, it's time to get loud. So I want you to think about is how do you leverage your digital body language to sell more homes and build an extreme organization? So, right, so we've gone through, we've done the hard work, we've created an offer, and whether that's you want to work with buyers, sellers, you want to build a big organization, you've got to get loud, right? Understand that you guys are judging me because I got a microphone and I'm just wandering around, right? You're like, dang, he's so short, I could barely even see over these walls. That's all right. You can judge all you want. I love you anyways, right? We're all making judgments. But let me just tell you, you're being judged right now as well. You're being judged right now by the size of your digital following, your accounts and audience. So when you've got an appointment, guess what they've already done? What do you think they've already done? Exactly. They already looked you up online. And if you've got like 87 followers and you follow like 12 accounts of just like cats doing dumb things and that's it, you're being, in a lot of ways, you're being judged on that one. I'm just telling you, right? Just like, let's get real. They're like, okay, crazy cat lady's not getting my house, right? Because cat smells hard to get out. Like, they don't want any part of that, right? But you're being judged. We're all being judged. And the market assumes your ability based on your visibility. I've heard 3 or 4 people come up and said, man, the last couple of weeks, Brandon's been putting out so much stuff, it's just been all over the internet, right? Dominating a certain space. But the market assumes your ability based on your visibility. How visible are you? The best known beats the best. Man, I hate that, but it's true. Right? And we always thought, oh my gosh, if I go through and I just become the best real estate agent, I'm going to win. That's a lie. That's a lie. Right? How many of us have lost out to someone, they're like, are you serious? They suck. They're slimy. They're this. Guess what? They were more visible. They were more believable. So how we're perceived determines how we are received. How are you perceived right now? Right? So they have to be aware of you before they can know, like, and trust you. And again, I hate this. I just do not like social media. I used to hate it. Now I just don't like it. But it's also helped me build in a massive, massive organization because I understood the power of this. And it's the same thing for buyers, sellers, or if you're building a big organization. So I'm just going to share a few things that I discovered that helped me turn my digital body language into an asset. Yes, even looking like me, you can build some good stuff, right? So you need to build your digital body language after you have a great offer inside there. So again, why are we inviting you into our community here inside of, Smile, inside of EXP? Why are we doing that? Well, for one is, you could sell real estate anywhere. And for our visitors here, I love you. This is awesome because we want to be around like-minded people that want to get better. You guys have already self-selected yourselves saying, I'm a person that believes in my future. I want to invest in it because you're the only one that gets to go with you. It doesn't matter which company you go to, doesn't matter which career, you get to go with you. So what you're pouring in, congratulations. We're inviting you into our community because we're building something. We're building something, an organization of leaders, right? People that can pour into each other and lift. That's what we're doing. And again, I believe the ultimate real estate achievement is not personal production. Okay? Awards are great, but guess what? Those just get dusty. It's the level of success that you help those in your circle achieve. And we're trying to attract people that say, you know what? This isn't just about competitive, right? Alma talked about you're going to look at the person there. You're going to beat these people. I started out my career I'm super competitive, right? There was a finite pie that I had to, if someone got a list and that was one I couldn't get. The reality is, man, the givers just keep getting better. Right? We're looking for givers. We're looking for people that want to lift, and that's what we're looking for. Again, it happens when we're in the right rooms and you guys are here. Understand that proximity is power. Do you guys believe that proximity is power? Yeah. It absolutely is. And there's also digital proximity. Okay? It is about here, but guess what? I'm in Arizona, and I've interacted with a lot of you, and this is the first time I've actually met some of you because there is digital proximity. Have you guys ever done that? Ever run into someone and you're like, I feel like I know everything about your kids. I feel like we're great. We're close. And I don't know if I've actually met you in person before. Have you guys ever done that? Is that just me? You're like, no, you're old and forgetful. Okay, that's possible too. Digital proximity, right? It's leveraged power. So we all have a digital sphere of influence. I want you to think about, everyone talks about, what's my farm? What's this? Understand you also have a digital sphere of influence. Have you thought about that? How many people follow you? So if you were going to go through and you've got, if I put you up on stage in front of 5,000 people, what would your message be? What would your message be? That's essentially what we get to be able to do every day on social media. You get to have a platform to be able to do that. So we've got to win the conversation before we get in the room. And let me give you an example. This is a great example, I think. Have you guys ever heard of Josh Altman, right? He's in on the $1 Million Listing and some other stuff. Love him or hate him, doesn't really matter. The point of this is on $1 million listing. He's also sold like an $11 million, he sold a $20 million home, sold an $11 million home to Tyler Perry, which you guys are like, duh, of course everybody here is a star. Like, okay, I'm just telling you this is like, woo, okay. But he made a $12 million sale to someone within hours of meeting them in line at Starbucks. So what, Curtis? We always sell $12 million homes to people in Starbucks. Just get with it, you stupid people from Arizona. Like, what's the big deal? Okay, there's a point. All right. A lot of people will say, well, that's just lucky. That's just because you're in the right place at the right time. It's not just blind luck, he tells Tarabi. The truth is that I go to that same Starbucks every morning for one reason, and it's not the coffee. I'm telling you, that's the key, right? It's because I know the type of clientele that I'm trying to go after, and I know that all the rich people and celebrities in Beverly Hills go there. And so I'm putting myself in a situation where I choose to be lucky. It's not just random luck. So understand your digital surroundings. Understand putting yourself in the right place, right? If you're going to be about waterfront property, what do you think you should be doing? Spending time where those people are at. Same thing, if you want to be you want to build a big organization, you need to be where the agents are at. You've got to think about what are you actually trying to do. So understand from social media, we are on social media to make sales. We are not on social media to make sales. We are on social media to make friends. Okay? A lot of people, I hate to say it, they do not want to see your listing. They don't. As much as I don't like it, they do want to see your cat occasionally. They don't want to smell it. But they probably like this. They probably like your dog better. Let's get real for a minute, okay? All the cat people. I just ticked off all the cat people in the room. It's all right. I'll come back around. I'll get everyone else as well. We're there to make friends because guess what? People do business with friends. So your job is every day to go through and to build your digital sphere of influence, your digital social media following inside there, and to make friends. And then inside there, occasionally, no more than a third of the time, you're putting stuff about real estate so that they know that you're having success and that you're winning inside there. So understand that. Your number one job every day is to increase your audience, those who know, like, and trust you. So what have you done today to be able to do it? So I would just say one thing is, like, if I have a good side on, I'm not really sure if it is, but take a picture of me up here, tag yourself in it, right? Put on social media, find someone else that's better looking, tag them, whatever it is, but you've got to be present because you're being judged right now in what you're doing, right? And you're no longer a consumer of social media, not after this, right? You are a producer of social media. You go on social media to produce and change the narrative of what you want people to believe about you. If you want to sell properties on a golf area, you should be taking pictures of you at homes on a golf area, right? Or golfing. You've got to create that narrative. If you're not, what are you doing? Right? Selling is just aligning with people who believe the same thing as you. Can people tell what you believe by following you on social media? Can they tell? Again, if all you're putting is listings, they don't even follow you. They've already moved on from that. Stronger the belief, the stronger the attraction towards you. And that's what you're trying to do, is get people to attract to get closer to you inside there. So again, whatever you do, be more of yourself. We're going to talk about AI in a minute, and there's a place for that. But I'll tell you what, be more human and connect more. That is your opportunity. It is not necessarily, yes, AI and technology, all those things should make you more efficient so that you can use that time to be more human. That's what will always have a place. And again, as people consume your content, they're shrinking the gap between where they are and where you are. They're making little votes and they're drawing closer to you. Your job is not just to take someone from here, right? Hey, it's nice to meet you. You want to get married and have 5 kids? No, your job is to do little dates along the way, right? Little pieces, getting them closer to you every day with that. So again, what message would you say if you were in front of 5,000 people? Every post, every interaction, they either tune you out or seek you out. What are they doing? Right? If you're making a lot of posts and nobody's responding, what is that telling you? It's telling that you abuse the relationship. It's telling that you spam people or whatever, and you've got to go through and figure out, I've got to rebuild this. So how can you leverage you? So now you've gone through, you've built a great marketing plan, you've built up yourself, you've put yourself out there. You're like, you know what? I like who I am. I put myself out there, but I don't want to go pop lock boxes and bust my knee for the next 30 years. What can I do? How can I leverage myself? Again, I'm with eXp Realty, and I believe that eXp Realty is the biggest opportunity of our life. I'm an example of that. I'm a college dropout. I'm not a great recruiter. I've got about 80 people directly that I've brought in, 80 in about 94 months, okay, which is less than one a month, which means that if I was a recruiter at any real estate company, I would be unemployed, right? Right? Is there any way that you're like, oh my gosh, you recruited almost one a month? That's amazing. We need to hire, nobody would hire me, right? But yet it makes me millions and millions and millions of dollars every year because I don't just recruit, we recruit and we bring people in that want to change other people's lives. We recruit and bring in people that then want to pour into other people. So if you're a taker and you're saying, I want to recruit because I want to make a few dollars off you, you'll make a few dollars and that will be it. But if you're a builder and you're saying, you know what, we can make this industry better, we can make a leadership factory, we can change lives, this is the place for you. One of my friends, Ryan Stewman, we talk about, opportunity comes and opportunity goes. And no, not true. Opportunity doesn't go away. It just goes to somewhere else, goes to somebody else. So somebody else is going to take this opportunity. In any room like this, there's probably 2 or 3 people that are really going to do stuff. 2 or 3 people out of this whole room. Everyone else is going to take their notes and they're going to go back on the table with everything else. You've got to decide, am I going to be the person that's going to change my life? Am I going to change my kid's life? Am I going to change generations? Because this is the opportunity we have, right? eXp is the largest independent real estate brokerage on the planet, okay, which is great, but what does that do? It gives us opportunities to be able to do stuff that other people can't do, right? The single largest brokerage, we're able to get better technology, right? Included just in your monthly fee, you get all these different technologies from lead generation, training, more training than you could ever want. Inside of that, we're always like, what should I be doing? eXp takes and incentivizes top agents to be able to come and maybe do things like this and share strategies. So instead of like going to an office and saying, hey, the person that can't list any homes is going to be teaching a listing class, that's not fun, right? We're able to go through and be able to do things and be able to have the support that we've never been able to, right? By taking care of technology and being able to do that, right? So just a few things. Again, from a sales perspective in 2024, dominated inside there. And it just gives it the credibility to be able to say, you know what? Yes, we've got a track record. So even if you're just starting out and you're saying, you know what? I don't have the success maybe that someone else did. You can just get rid of the I word and start talking about the we word, right? We did this. So again, it's the #1 growth leader inside of there from Real Trends, all these different things, right? Cloud-based, right? Glenn Sanford that created the company essentially was looking around corners before COVID even hit. We were able to dominate, be able to do those things, being a cloud-based, being able to have the ability to, if you want to come in, but guess what? Like all the guys in the room, hey, you don't want to put your makeup on, you don't want to, you be able to still do stuff online, right? You're able to go through from advanced technology, training, all those things. eXp is a capped model. That was something that was really attractive to me. I'd been with RE/MAX, with Keller Williams, with a few other companies that it didn't matter. There was no end to this, right? Inside of eXp, it's a capped model of $16,000 inside there. And guess what? If you're selling, I don't know, probably here in Southern California, like 2 houses, it's really not, but like in Arizona, it's about 12 to 14 houses. They essentially saying, out of your $16,000, let's just give that back to you because you're one of the top few percent that are actually out there doing it. You get all the cap that you've paid and you get that back, right? So all those things are amazing. And again, talk to the person that invited you today if you're like, hey, I want to really know some of the specifics inside of here. Or if you want to watch a video that really goes through way in detail, you can go to themodelexplained.com, themodelexplained.com. But again, inside of here, this is the first way to be able to say, you know what? The company treats us as owners inside here. So I went to Burbank and I rented a car. I treat it very good, but I've seen how some of you guys treat rental cars, right? But this is like, how do you treat your car, your pride and joy versus one that you rented? Probably pretty different, right? And inside of EXP, we're treated like owners. And what inside of that is EXP goes through and takes the $16,000 and takes half of it and runs the company and takes the other half and uses it as an incentive for us to be able to pour back into you, right? And that's where the millions of dollars I get paid each year come from, because I was willing to be brave enough to share that with a few people, that shared it with a few people, and that brought those in. And that opportunity is the same for everybody, right? Whether you're a short, little, redheaded guy, whether you're a tall African-American, while you're Hispanic, whether you're a woman, a man, somewhere in between, whatever it is, right? Everybody has the same opportunity. It doesn't matter. This is a meritocracy. This is you're paid for results by influencing and impacting people. And this is changing lives inside of here, right? We get paid up to 7 tiers down inside of here to pour into people to be able to do that. Last year, you might say that's not that big of a deal, $220 million in revenue share and equity benefits from that, right? You go out and you sell your first house, EXP treats you like an owner and gives you stock. These are all just a few of the little things that really make it special. CRM of choice. There's a few of these that really can help your business from a lead generation standpoint to a automation standpoint, all those different things. There's some obviously 24/7 support for agents. When have you ever had that before, right? And again, this is the ability to be able to own your own brokerage without the overhead to it. So EXP Luxury, EXP Commercial, Land and Ranch, the referral department inside of there, we're up to 26 countries right now. So instead of, if you're like, hey, I want to build a team, there's some advantages to that. But I built a team in Arizona and it was forced to be right in my local area, right? Because guess what? Real estate agents didn't want to drive more than a few miles. Inside now, I've got agents in all 50 states and in like 7 countries. That doesn't, and you know where? I've got my real estate license in Arizona. That's it. So you can be able to build a virtual team anywhere in the world that you want without the overhead, without the risk. So understand, you might be looking at this and you might be going, that might be interesting, but guess what? I'm already pretty far down the road at this place over here. That's okay, I get it. The longer you stay on the wrong train, guess what? The more expensive it is to get home. Right? People go, well, you know what, but I've got listings over here. I don't want to move. I've got an escrows. You should. If you're a productive agent, you will always have escrows. You will always have listings. There will never be a good time. But remember, it's going to be further to get back. And you might be saying, you know what, Curtis, that's fine. That's good. I'm not a recruiter. That's the same thing I said. But you need to understand 88% of agents at EXP love it as a real estate brokerage. They love it. They love the healthcare. Most people are on average saving $800 a month in their healthcare, right? My family uses that to be able to do it. About 12% of people participate in RevShare and are builders. About 12%. My friend Dan Beer says, even for the 88% who don't build or recruit, revenue share is the most important thing. It's the reason we share our playbook. So even if you're saying, I don't want to recruit, totally understand, most people don't. Most people just want a great place to know without people on their back. I can have the flexibility to be able to do this. But if you are one of the 88%, guess what? The 12% have a reason to pour into you. And that's what I want. I want people that are on my side that are going to do everything they can to help build up my business with that. There's about 10 agents who are joining EXP each hour, 12 hours every workday. There's about 250,000 brokerages in the US who are not yet with EXP. So when you think about, oh my gosh, what's the opportunity? That's the opportunity right now, right? I've got people that from getting a few $1,000s a month paying their cars to houses to millions and millions of dollars and anywhere in between, right? Because if you're productive, you are attractive. Because when you are productive, people go, I want to be around them. And that's what's exciting about that. Your chance to be able to invite people to events like this, invite people to trainings, invite people to an environment this awesome. Isn't this office amazing? I love this here, right? Just by inviting people to come to a better brokerage situation, you will be compensated with that. So you want to surround yourself with people that are on the same mission as you. If you want to hang out with people that are not doing that much, that's what you're going to be. And you might be going, you know what? I'm going to do it someday. But haven't you already done that? Then you say, you know what? 2017 is going to be my year. 2018 is going to be my year. When is it going to be your year? Decide now. Decide. If you hang out with 5 confident people, you're going to be the 6th. If you hang around with 5 intelligent people, you're going to be the 6th. If you hang around with 5 millionaires, you're going to be the 6th. If you hang around with 5 idiots, you're going to be the 6th. You get to decide. And you're only 1 year of consistent effort away from a new life. Yeah, 1 year, right? It starts with 6 weeks of hard work. It starts with 90 days. It starts with building that. And if you've wanted to change generations, it's now. This is your time to recommit. Curtis, I've been with EXP for a year. I've been with it for 6 months. I haven't done anything. I'm new to real estate. I haven't done this. This is your chance. You get to decide today, right? This is your decision today. When you leave here, are you going to be great at your career? Are you going to be great with buyers? Are you going to be great with sellers? Are you going to attract people and get residual income instead of paying residual bills? Get residual income. That's your choice. It's time to recommit. We make money through selling houses, right? That's what we're doing. We changed the world through building our EXP organization. I love this. From 1962, JFK, for you young ones, he was a president, right? John Kennedy was visiting the NASA Space Center. And during his visit, he noticed somebody off in the corner that was a janitor who was carrying a broom. And he walked over to him and he said, "Hi, I'm Jack Kennedy. What are you doing?" And the janitor responded, "Well, Mr. President, I'm helping put a man on the moon." Okay? So you need to decide, are you just selling houses? Or are you doing something bigger than that? I love this industry. I think we have an opportunity to change lives. EXP gives us the chance to be owners without the risk of having to have exposure to be able to do that. And you guys have seen this as I wrap up. You give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. You guys know how this goes, right? Teach a man to fish, feed him for a lifetime. And that's a lie. I just want to see if you're still listening. Right? Like, what? No, that's it. But what they don't tell you is they don't tell you the last part. Right? The last part is teach a man to fish, and you feed generations. That is what we're doing. Allow yourself the grace to start again today. Start now. Start where you are. Start with fear. Start with pain. Start with doubt. Start with hands shaking. Start with voice trembling. But just start. I love you guys. I'm Curtis Johnson. Thanks for being here.